So we're going to have a look today at this row of trees. So you can see they sort of have multiple stems. Sometimes they'll even branch out right from the base. So what we're looking at here is a Japanese maple. And this particular one might be bigger than you think they get, but they do get quite large as they get older. You can see it has this kind of mottled bark with white patches of lichen growing on it, so that's pretty common with Japanese maples. There's a couple other things you can look at too. So if we look at the actual buds themselves, so the buds are opposite. So the ones that come out at the end are called the terminal bud, and you can see they sort of look like a goat's hoof or maybe a pig's hoof, so they're doubled, and they have a slight little bit of hair right at the very base of the bud. The leaf scar doesn't go all the way around the stalk like it does in some other maples. And if we look further along the stem, we might see some terminal buds. Let's see. I actually don't see any right off the hop, but we can look at a few other features. You can see this kind of long brown stalk hanging off of the tree here. That's where the maple keys were attached. So the samaras that were attached to this tree in the fall have fallen off. But if we look on the ground, we might actually be able to find some. So I've made a little pile of some things. And with maples, it's helpful if you try to recreate what angle the samaras were. So if I put them back together where they would have been attached, you can see they almost come out at like a 180 degree, close to it anyway, maybe slightly less than that. But they're quite wide spreading compared to other maples that might have a narrower attachment. I also found some leaves on the ground. So again, these are helpful, can be helpful when identifying stuff. And Japanese maples have this really typical palmate shape. That's where they get their name from, Acer or palmatum. And they have kind of these pointier lobes. They're somewhat durable, these leaves. This is the end of the winter here, so it managed to make it through the whole winter fairly intact, which is nice to see. Japanese maples are extremely variable. There's many different kinds, colors, shapes, sizes. There's another one right over here that's the weeping style of Japanese maple. So you can see this one's much shorter, kind of broad spreading branches. It also has a slightly different leaf. The leaf is much more cut. It's called dissectum, a dissected leaf. So you can see there's much less of the leaf. It's kind of cut up like a serrations. But the other traits are the same. The buds, very small, kind of goat-like hoof, and there's some lateral buds. So the lateral buds and the terminal buds are basically the same size and shape. Yeah, so you think Japanese maple would be hard to identify because there's so many different kinds, but they all tend to just have this same kind of really thin, delicate looking branching structure with these sort of hoof-shaped buds. And I don't know, they seem like they have a distinctive look to them once you've looked at a number of them. So yeah, those are some of the key features of Acer palmatum, the Japanese maple.